Okay, so the first way that we can get a slope is from a graph. And when we see the graph, we're going to talk about rise and run. So it's rise over run. So when you see this here, you're gonna, what I would like to see from your point of view, and so for work on the test, what I would like to see is the little, I'm going to say curves counting from one point to the other. Always start with the left-hand point. And so we went down 1 unit and over 3 units. We went to the right, so it's positive. So our rise is -1 and our run is 3. Does that make sense? So I'd want to see this as your work and that as your work for the test and for your assignment today. What I want right now is for some brave soul to tell me what I need to do for this slope, to figure out this slope. Who wants to? Anyone want to raise their hand?
I can do it.
Okay. Gianna, that's you?
Oh.
Or who is it?
Away from me.
Huh?
I can't see the problem anymore.
No, I know. I was just going back to see who. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So tell me what I'm doing.
So there would be rise over run. So 1, 2, 3.
Where am I starting at?
Over 1.
Hold on. Where am I starting at?
So I start from the bottom point, the one lower.
Okay.
And then you just count up the spaces.
Okay. So from here, 1, 2, 3.
And then over 1.
And over 1. And it's to the right. We went up and to the right. So our rise is 3 over 1. And they're both positive because we went up and to the right. If we went up and went to the left, it would be negative. But normally we go left to right. Okay. Josh, can you do this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one?
Yep.
What do you want me to
Tell me where I'm going to start.
Where the dots are?
Uh-huh.
Well, the dot that's higher up.
Okay.
Ryan. That dot it's on 2, 0.
Okay.
And then that dot down there is -3. -3, 0.
How about 0, -3?
Yep. That's it.
Okay. So in all of these other examples that we just did up here, the one that Gianna did and the one that I did we identify what the coordinates were for those points? Josh? Eliza?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we identify what the points were here on this example?
Yes.
We did? Do we have a coordinate right here of 0, -1? We do now, but we didn't before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it really doesn't matter where the points are, but more the relationship between the points. How do you move from one point to the other point? is what you're asking yourself. So from here, if I start at this point down here, how do I get to the other point in terms of rise and run? Eliza, can you help him?
You have to draw a line.
How about Daniel? How about John? John. Jackson.
Yeah, man, rock on.
Yeah, how do I go from this point to that point up there?
Oh. Well, rise 3
Okay.
and run 2.
Okay, so I'm going up 3 and I'm running over 2 units. So
Yes.
3 over 2 is my slope. Okay, so
Yeah, man.
thanks. So when I'm given graphs like this, I want to talk about rise and run, and I don't need to necessarily know the coordinates of where the points are. I want to more talk about how do I go from one point to another point. And I'm going to write this on here, maybe. Okay, so this is actually going to be your worksheet that you're going to be working on today. So we did problems 1, 2, and 4. So 1 through 8 are all graphs like that I want to see the little marks counting up and the little marks counting over to look at rise and run. Now the next way that you can get your slopes, and Josh, I think this is where you were going with yours, with your, when you found the coordinates. Do you want to do this one? Do number 9? Here are the 2 coordinates. How do we find the slope when we're given these 2 coordinates?
To be honest, I really don't know.
Okay. So
you subtract
Put them in Desmos and graph.
okay, you could put them in Desmos and graph and then go back up to the previous way, right? And look at rise over run.
I know.
How will?
So you do y2 over y1 minus x2 over x1. And then that would give you the slope.
Y2, so here's my second y. 14 minus, here's my first y. 10.
10.
Over
negative 7 minus 8.
Okay. That is correct. So 14 minus 10, we use the formula slope equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And it's only a single fraction. It's a single fraction with that subtraction on top. So 14 minus 10 is 4 over negative 7 minus 8, which is negative 15. If you could reduce that down, you would. But remember that slope is y's are on top. Y's are always on top. Ian.
Okay, I think I know.
Okay. Ian,
Yeah.
can you do number 10? Tell me what to do for number 10.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so on top it's 1 minus 2.
Okay.
Then on the bottom it's negative 17 minus negative 3.
Okay. So right there, I'm going to stop you because 1 minus 2, you started out with this y, and then you went to that y. So the first y was the 1. So when you go to the bottom, you need to have that x that goes with that 1, which is negative 3.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to be negative 3 minus a minus 17. And I think that is another place that got people on the test was the two negatives. You put down negative 3 minus 17, but didn't put the minus from the difference between them. The minus is the sign. So 1 minus 2 is a negative 1. Negative 3 minus a minus 17. So that's going to be a plus 17. Negative 3 plus 17 is a positive 14. Josh, does that make sense now? What we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Liza, how are you with it?
Good.
Okay. Who else do I have online? Abby? Taryn, are you okay with it? So if it helps, let's do another one, and it might help you to just go through and say this is x1, y1, x2, y2, just so that you can see where each one of them are, and then putting your y's on top, negative 8 minus a minus 5 over 0 minus 12. So the top is going to be negative 3. The bottom is going to be positive 12, which is going to reduce down to negative 1/4. So if you have to, go ahead and put those up there. And then follow this
Is that all
formula.
we're doing? Is that all we're doing for this assignment?
Well, there's one more part. The other way that you can find the slope is from an equation. And if the equation is solved for y, because our equation says y equals mx plus b. Once we have it in that equation, this number in front of the x is the slope. So if we look at 17, y equals negative 5x minus 1. Here's my x. The number right in front of it is my slope. How easy is that to find the slope when it's solved for y? Pretty easy?
Yes, okay. That definitely cleared things up. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see if we have any that aren't solved for y. Oh, there's only one, and it's number 25. I'm going to leave that for you to do. Let me see if there's any over to the side here. Oh, there are no more. Okay.
Isn't it just, don't you try to put it into mx plus b?
Yeah.
Or y equals?
So I'm going to do number 26 here. We want it in the form of y equals. So we want y by itself. So here's my equal sign right there. On the left-hand side, I have a 5x and a 2y. I want to keep the y there, but the 5x has to go over to the other side. We want it away from there. What's the opposite of 5x? Negative 5x. So 2y equals negative 5x plus 6. That's the process that we're doing. when I draw this arrow from here over, what I'm saying is I want to take that 5x and put it on the other side of the equation. When I cross this squiggly line there to go to the other side, it changes the sign from 5x to negative 5x. So you really don't have to show this work right here if you put that arrow here and move that whole term and change the sign of it. If that doesn't make sense to you, then go ahead like you would normally solve for a variable and take the opposite of what's being added and put it on the other side of the equation. Add the opposite to both sides. Now we can't add a 6 and a negative 5x together because they're not like terms. Do we have it solved for y yet?
No.
No, we have it solved for 2y. We want it solved for 1y. So we have to divide everything by 2. And I say everything, meaning each of these terms over here have to get divided by 2. So we get the 2's cancel out. We're left with 1y. 5x divided by 2 is a negative 5/2 x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. We now have it solved for y. And here's our x. Here's our number in front of the x. So our slope is negative 5/2. Okay, so that is going to be the hardest thing, is solving for the y. If you already have it solved for y, like in these other ones, you just take the number that's in front of the x. Now, what's the number in front of the x on on number 24?
1.
1. So negative 1 is going to be our slope for that equation. Okay? That's what you're going to do for your assignment tonight. Those 3 different ways of coming up with a slope. Using the graph, using rise and run. From points, using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the third way is from the equation, putting it in y equals and telling me the number in front of the x. So I want to see work on these ones. I want to see the little marks like that on these ones. And on the last ones, if you can't solve it for y, if it's already solved for y, just circle the number that's in front of x and put that down as the slope. Okay, questions? All right, that is going to be your assignment. The worksheet should already be up there on the website. And this one will, what did I do? This one will be posted here in just a minute. So.
Wait, you said website. What do you mean by that? Google Classroom?
And yes, Google Classroom, yes.
Okay. Can we evacuate now?
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.